Hello, I'm Takashi. This time, I'm going to introduce all the noteworthy light novels released in late February. The last new light novels of February has been an extremely hot lineup. The TV anime is highly praised. The latest edition of the currently airing Welcome to the Classroom of the Elite has been released, and you can't miss the spin-off series of The Detective Is Already Dead. Furthermore, there are high expectations for the sequel and a new series of a new novel, The Newcomer Awards, which was released last year. There's so much to do in February that I can wait till the end. This is the lineup, so please watch this video to get the latest information on your favorites. This time, we'll be checking out the notable works that will be released on February 24 to the 29th, focusing on MF and overlap Bunko, so let's get it started. Let's start with MF Bunko J, which is now on sale on February 24th. Let's check out the noteworthy works of the sequel series. First of all, this is the second volume of Masquerade Confidence. It won the top prize at the last year's Newcomers Award. The first volume of this award-winning work was released on November last year, so the sequel is coming out at a good pace. This series is about a young man who lives as an con artist. When he meets a certain girl, he develops supernatural powers. It was a road movie-like story where you caught up in a battle. The overall level of perfection was high, and it was a good new work with an aftertaste of a western-like movie. It was better than I expected from the impression I got from the package. I was surprised at how strong the innovative battle elements were. The main character is a fraud. However, the elements of deceiving each other and accompanying each other is weak, and it gives the impression that it was a lot of power play. So if you haven't picked up because you thought it was a difficult work, you might find it a bit of a waste. Since the heroine is being targeted by an organization, she is basically an enemy. In the latest edition, new enemies will appear and the battle will continue with new characters appearing to help the protagonist and new encounters. It seems like this series has allies and enemies depending on situation. Since it tends to change, I don't know if it really is be on your side. In that sense, it may be a work with plenty of elements of deception. If you want to read a work movie type battle innovative story, check this work. Next is the top idol next door who can't help but beg for my immoral food volume 2. This is also a short work by a newcomer last year, and it's an excellent short work. This is completely different, and it's a gourmet romantic comedy with a food eating element. As a general genre, it's a neighbor romantic comedy. It's like the main character who's good at cooking ends up cooking for a popular idol living next door out of curiosity. The heroine is on an impossible diet because she's an idol, but I couldn't bear to watch that. The main character serves high-calorie food and drops it into the swamp of delicious rice. The description of the gourmet food is definitely look delicious. There's a lot of scenes where the heroine happily eats the food while wearing a hot mask, and it feels erotic to the brain. Personally, I think the first volume is pretty good. Don't let me think you're getting older. In the latest issue of this work, the leader of an idol group whose heroine is poisoned appears, and a mysterious battle begins over who will be in charge for the cooking of the heroine, who serves the hero as a super healthy moral meal. When you think about it, it's pretty dangerous to feed idols with high-calorie food, so it seems like a bad idea of the main character, but I don't know what will happen. Personally, after reading it once, I think the main character should calculate a little more calories and the heroine. I also thought that it would be better to consider the situation, so that's okay. I feel like I want you to follow up on the latest issue of this series. Well, I'm interested to see how it will develop as a romantic comedy, so I'm curious about how it will turn out to be as an interesting about neighbors. An interesting comedy with gourmet elements. Next is Natsunagi Nagisa Still Wants to Be a High School Girl Volume 2. The Detective Is Already Dead. Ordinary Case. This is a spin-off of the Detective Is Already Dead series. It's a side story featuring Natsunagi, who is also an important heroine in the main story, so it's like a prequel. depicts the summer before she meets Kimizuka, the main character, where she doesn't know her fate and destiny. The story is different from the main story, by the way. The author is not Nigoju, but Tsukimi Shusui, who is also responsible for the series The Cutest Girl in the World Came to See Me. Regarding the illustrations, please refer to the Otonari no Tenshi-sama series. The Tamoshi characters drawn by Hanekoto, who is in charge of the series, have a different atmosphere from Uibozu Sensei and are more expensive. Basically, this is a series depicting summer high school life. Although it is an edition, the latest edition introduces a new character whose appearance seems somewhat similar to Siesta. There seems to be some connection to the main story, so if you're a fan of the series, you should check out the spin-off as well. There's also a bit of Yuri between the high school girls, so if you're a fan of Yuri, I think there's no harm in holding back. The illustrations for the new book are also better than the main story, so Tamoshi fans, let's enjoy the latest book. Reincarnated in the world of a Yuri game as a man who got sandwiched by Yuri Volume 4, the latest title in the Game World Reincarnation Battle Fantasy series, which is steadily gaining popularity. It has some quirks, so it seems like it's missing out a bit, but it's pretty hot. It's a school battle fantasy. Mayuri is a hated male character in the game world. The main character, who has been reincarnated, is broadcasting to protect the game he loves, and for some reason, the heroine ends up liking him. If you listen to all this, I think you'll get the feeling that this is just a typical romantic comedy. The game world in which I was reincarnated is a modern fantasy. The series has a good balance between comedy, seriousness, and heated battles, and has been well received in all aspects. The main battle will be with the target force, so there will be quite a lot of battle scenes. That's right, it looks like it's going to be quite an interesting development since Soma is trapped in a dream world by an enemy character who has the ability to interfere with the mind. Battles in the dream world can become quite mental battle-like. There are so many of them, so anything goes and interesting. I think the series will become even more popular in the future, so check it out while there aren't functions. Welcome to the Classroom of the Elite Year 2 Volume 11 has arrived. I think there are many fans who have been waiting for the latest edition on this series. However, I have some disappointing news this time. It seems that the release of the latest ebook will be delayed. The electronic version will be distributed on March 4th, so if you're a fan of ebooks, you'll be able to read it much later. By the way, I'm also available as an ebook, but this time, I think I have to buy it on paper. I'm a little curious if just this time or if the electronic version will slow down forever. The third season of the anime is currently being aired on both days, and this one will be animated until the end of the first grade edition. Honestly, it's getting pretty interesting now. I get the impression that this is getting more interesting as I get to know it better. The interesting parts of the original work have been successfully incorporated into the anime. So for those who were a little disappointed with the first and the second season, I really want you to watch the third season of the anime. As for the main part of the original work, the second year version is currently in its final stages. It's become quite interesting in terms of development, and I think the second year version will probably be completed in the remaining few days. Those who enjoyed the anime up to the third season will love the original story. I'd like you to try your hand at it too. There are some parts that have been cut out, so I think you'll be able to enjoy the anime even more by reading the original work. In the latest edition, there's a training camp where 3rd graders and the leaders and 12th graders take on Class Congo. Development on the Congo training camp, which is also held for first year students. That's what it feels like, isn't it? However, this training camp doesn't have any university penalties or increases or decreases in class points, so it seems like it's going to a bit of a break. But I think we'll get to see new sides of various characters, so it seems like it will be quite important in terms of future development. It's actually a bit scary for the character who got the spotlight this time, and as it seems like there's a higher chance of him expelling the school. But there's also a scene where Ayano Koji and Horikata doing mysterious grappling, which is quite interesting. This is a development in which Horikata's stock has been rise in various ways recently, so what will happen in the future? It will be interesting to see if it will become a position. While the third season of the anime is getting more exciting, the original work is also very hot. So if you're a fan of Yojitsu, please enjoy this as well. Next, we will introduce the new series of MF Bunko J. This time, we will introduce two works. First of all, here is a romantic comedy about my youth who will be transferring schools in 1 month. This is also included in the title. It's a work that is like youth romantic comedy. I'm curious about the part where he transfers schools in a month. The main character of this work is a high school boy who is scheduled to transfer schools in a month's time. It seems like he can't tell the people around him about it. The main character is a childhood friend who is transferred to another school when she was in an elementary school. The story begins where the protagonist transfers schools in high school. The main character who is about to transfer to another school and the heroine who is about to transfer in depict the misunderstanding that occurs over a short period of time. However, it seems that there will be multiple heroines in this work. The main character is This is a serious relationship because people around you will find out that you are transferring schools. It looks like this is going to be a self-defense romance comedy where the gender changes, so I'm curious to see how deep I can dig into the character within a 1 month time limit. So I tried reading a preview. However, it seems like this work is probably intended to be made into a series. Well, the dates were written in the table of content, but the first volume doesn't go all the way to the weather dates, so it seems it might better be able to understand that part before you start reading it. I think it's going to be a slightly sad youth story, so if you're interested, please check it out. This is Telecaster Boy. As you can see from the front of the cover, it's a novelization based on Vocaloid songs that MF Bunko J is focusing on. However, what makes this work different from other Vocaloid-like novels is Vocaloid P himself. That means that it will be novelized by someone who wrote the music. There are so many different ways to play the novel. By the way, Omoto's Vocaloid song have been viewed 4,700 times on YouTube, which is quite an incredible number of views. Even if it's only 10%, I'd like you to share it with me. It is a book like that. This story is about a male high school student who belongs to the light music club. It seems like the story begins with the main character having trouble fitting in with their surrounding environment. Then by chance, the main character meets the older heroine who can't give up on her career in music, and the two of them start a band together. It seems like various obstacles are falling in front of them, and it's quite a royal road. It looks like it's going to be youth music, youth song too. If you look at the lyrics of the original song, it looks like the person is suffering from the current situation and turning red in searching of something. So that seems to be the theme. The rest is a trial from what I read. There's a lot of gender-related aspects to the story. I feel like it might be related to this. I think you'll enjoy the novel even more if you know the song, so it'd be a good idea to listen to it first. If you're interested, please check it out. Next, let's take a look at Overlap Bunko, which will be on sale on February 25. This time, we will only be introducing titles that are sequel to the series. First of all, this is the 5th volume of very popular idol Classman has taken a liking to me, a person who doesn't want to work for whole life. This is a reactionary romantic comedy with idol heroines. Last release was in May of last year, so it has been quite a while. Even though the new book has the heroine, who is a classmate and very popular idol, is found lying on the ground due to hunger, and the main character takes care of the food, which is fairly common development in every novel series. So I was quite paralyzed. To begin with, there are idols in the same class. I'm a little curious as to whether or not anyone
watching this video ends up in the same class as the idol? If so, please let me know. The main character wants to be a full-time housewife and is a versatile character who is perfect at housework. As the story progresses, we are told about the protagonist's family environment, including why she wants to become a housewife. The protagonist supports the heroine's activities. I'm going to watch the series, so it's a pleasure to read. It's finished. In the latest issue, it seems that a rival character will appear before the heroines who have scheduled for a martial arts live performance, and it seems like there will be quite a new development. The romantic comedy race for the main character also seems to be accelerating, so that area is also a key point. If you want to read a reactionary romantic comedy with idols, please check out this work. Next, here's the Royal Highness Seems to Be Angry, Volume 9. It's been quite a while since a new book was released in this series. The previous volume was released in October 2022, so this is the first new book in a year and 4 months. The strongest in a war tournament, the heroine, who was called a magician, becomes a different person in the world 1000 years later. In this work, she wakes up as an incompetent, aristocratic daughter who was ridiculed by her family, but that's how it started. It become a battle fantasy where the protagonist uses her greatest power to fight unrivaled. Of course, the setting itself is pretty clunky, but the main character is a pretty cool type and has a lot of interest. It has a very straightforward feel, so when you read it, it feels like it has a lot of originality. However, in this work, the final victory has begun in the previous chapter, and with the latest volume, the story will come to a conclusion. Mystery is everything. I'm looking forward to see what kind of ending it will be because it feels like it's going to be revealed. Lately, I've been seeing a pattern where a series ends after a while, then a new book came out for the first time in a while. I've been waiting for the final episode for over a year now, so if you're a fan of the series, let's enjoy the volume to the fullest. The magic in this other world is too far behind, volume 10. This is also the first new book in quite a while. The previous volume was released in October 2019, more than 3 years after the new book was released. I think the fans of the series will be very happy about this modern day where magic exists, a master summoned from one world to another. It's fun to see how the prince conquers the other world with the power of modern magic. Even now, the main character can use magic from the beginning and use that power to live comfortably in another world. It feels quite new. By the way, the illustrator for this work has changed twice. Moreover, since the last volume, Yuna-sensei has been in charge, and I feel that overall slow pace of sightseeing has also influenced by this area. Personally, I think Yuna-sensei depiction of battles is even better in the light novel industry. I think it's top class, so illustrations are pretty nice. Even though I'm saying that, the latest book released before its release about a heroine trapped in a tower, that's fine. The latest book is about saving an ally faction that is cornered by the demons. The battle part feels like the main character is playing an active role. It looks like it's going to be quite exciting. I feel like it's a little unconvincing, even though I'm showing this naughty illustration. It's been a long time since it has released a new book, so fans of the series should review all the volumes and wait for the latest version. How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom, Volume 19. This is a different world state management fantasy that has been made into a TV anime. It has been 8 months since a new book was released, so this was also the first new book in a while. It's from modern Japan. The summoned hero becomes the king of a country. This is an interesting story in which the protagonist takes a country with a low national power and has many problems and turns it into a powerful country through various strategies. It's an economy based on modern knowledge. There are many functions such as academics, politics, domestic politics, diplomatic war, and etc. This game has a lot of different elements, but in the last few chapters, The truth about the world has been revealed, and the scale of the story hasn't changed all at once, and more sci-fi elements have been added than I expected. There are currently some settings that will surprise readers. Since it's the climax, the final battle begins and the story accelerates all at once. By the way, this work is based on a web novel, but it was originally published in other websites, but due to various reasons, it was serialized in a Pixiv novel. The story has finally come to an end. Since it's only reached its climax, the book version is probably moving towards the end all at once. I wonder how the story will end. If you're a fan of the series, you should check it out. And finally, this is the volume 15 of Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. This will be released by Overlap Novels on February 25. This is something that everyone knows. It's a gourmet fantasy series where you travel freely around the world. The anime was released around this time last year. It's already been a year. It's scary how fast time passes. It's delicious while traveling around the world. There are many such gourmet foods, so please watch the anime. It was also a pretty good idea. It was produced by MAPPA, so it was a good anime with stable quality. The broadcast date has not been decided yet, but the second season of the anime has already been decided, so it will be broadcast around next year. I'm really looking forward to that as well. That's what this work is like. The subtitle of the latest issue is Calm Pasta with Fly Scallops, Kairu Philosopher's Stone, so clam pasta is good. The setting this time is a vast ocean, so it's like there will be a plenty of battle with lion-type monsters and lion-related creatures. If you're a fan of this series, please be sure to read the latest version with an empty stomach. In addition, the girl raised by the god of death holds a jet black sword in the chest volume 7. The strongest hidden knight who was executed in the kingdom as a traitor volume 3. The strongest of the supernatural school lurks in peace volume 3, and new volume of the series. When I started living with an old male friend, he turned out to be a beautiful girl volume 1. These works will also be released. There are some series that have been around for quite some time, so if you're a fan of the series, don't miss them. Above that, we have introduced the noteworthy light novels from Overlap Bunko, and now finally, we will focus on the light novels from other publishers. Let's introduce the other noteworthy works for other labels all at once. This time, we will pick up 2 works. First, around 30 years old, I became a VTuber Volume 4. This will be released as a book in Famitsu Bunko on February 28th, a series that is gaining popularity among light novels. The main character, a man who quits his job at a black company because he was on the verge of becoming overworked, ends up joining a VTuber agency and makes his debut as a VTuber. Although he gets caught up in an unreasonable firestorm, he steadily climbs up the ghost story of becoming a popular VTuber. It feels like a classic VTuber entertainment novel. It's also a reason that the main character is a male VTuber. Among the VTubers, they have quite a lot of individuality and it's a good feeling, but when the function is over, they participate in FPS tournaments as a team and they have incorporated trends in the game industry. They have unique characters, it's also interesting, so I highly recommend it as the first book for a VTuber's reading list. In the issue, a former VTuber co-worker who was fired after a fire incident reappeared in front of the team, and the flame spreads to the main character, causing a huge commotion. The situation seems to be quite sticky and his friends came up. looks like it's going to turn out a bit of inconvenience. Fans of the series should keep an eye on the latest volume to see what happened to the main character and who tends to meet many people.
Then there's the new series, I Want to Become a Saint, but I Can Only Use Attack Magic, Volume 1. This will be released on GC Novels on February 29. This is the beginning of being treated as inferior because of this. That's right. No, this makes my Kane's aura swell. It's just that I feel like I'm looking at the elastography of the mouth. It's like an interesting new type of heroine. It seems like I'm going to be a female character, not just a warrior. I think I'm the main character as has a bit more of a comic disorder. It seems to be a comedy story that repeats the climate, so it's a good idea for male readers. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, of course. There are some good looking characters, so if you might want to read just for the sake of it. It looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting comedy fantasy, so I'm intrigued. Please check it out, and I'll pick this up on time, soon.
Aside from that, GC Novels will also be released works like the spin-off from Mobuseka, That Otome Game is a Harsh Word for Us, Volume 3. Let this grieving soul retire. Woe is the weakling who leads the strongest party, Volume 11, which has announced its anime adaptation, and She Professed Herself, Pupil of the Wise Man, Volume 20. These 3 works will also be released, so fans of the series should not miss them.
So this time, I have introduced the new light novel works that will be released and on sale late February. Well, this is the last month of February. The month has gone by in the blink of an eye. This time, there are quite a few things from the anime, including both days. I'm wondering what you all thought of the lineup this time. If you have works that you like, please let me know in the comment section. That's all for this video. I'll be introducing the most popular works next week, so please show your support for the channel by clicking the subscribe button. I would be happy if you could watch another video. See you in the next video then. Bye.
学校生活2学期までを一気に振り返られる大ボリューム。先生のインタビューも収録。書き下ろしもあるんだ。綾小路くん